All right, let's talk about CJ Stroud, who, anytime you lose to a team that throws 5 interceptions, you never feel great. I did see a lot of criticism going CJ Stroud's way after this loss, which is funny because in the first half, all I saw was praise from CJ Stroud and how he played. So let's talk about it all, the good and the bad, why they were able to get up so big in the beginning of this game, and also why it ultimately fell apart in the second half and they scored no points in the second half. Let's get into it. First, let's start off with a play like this. It's a 3rd down and 10, and really early on, they had guys making plays. They really did. This is going to be again, 3rd down and 10, cover 1 blitz for the Lions, and you see Tank Dell's route on this one, who, again, he's a guy they trust in these situations. Watch how, when this play begins, you're going to see that right here, Stroud throwing this one, well-timed, going to get this ball there in a good spot. Dell has to make the grab, and it has to be an accurate throw, though. This is not easy, but it is still completed. I mean, really good stuff here by Stroud and by Dell. So, again, this is part of what we saw early on. It's just, like I said, guys making plays on key 3rd downs, being able to make things happen. On this drive, I thought Stroud made a couple of really nice throws to John Mechie. In fact, I didn't think the Lions were playing defense that poorly in the first half. They, had to deal with some turnovers. That was something they had to just deal with, but what's going on right here is it's a zone coverage play for the Detroit Lions. It's actually a zone blitz that they're going to be implementing, and there's John Mechie running an over-the-middle route. For the Detroit Lions, right over here, when Stroud makes this throw, that's not bad defense, especially with a 5-man rush. There is a window for sure, but you have to time this really well. You have to throw this ball very accurately. But Stroud does both of those things. So these are really, I would say pretty high degree of difficulty plays that Stroud was making. And this wasn't even the toughest throw he had to make on this drive. That belongs to this play. This one is a 3rd down and 10 situation. And really the game situation is probably the more important thing to note, as it's yes, 3rd down and 10, but 16 seconds left, no timeouts for the Texans. So if they get tackled in bounds, that's probably it, because again, it would be 4th down at that point. You can't spike the ball. You'd have to rush the field goal unit on. What you honestly might have to do in that situation is just rush on one more play and just throw up a Hail Mary, go for the end zone, because you don't have time for the field goal unit. Don't want to even go there. They're going to first have a receiver run kind of more of a setup route, trying to push, one of the safeties who's going to be in that area further deep. Another receiver, John Mechie, he's going to kind of follow him, get into the end zone. That's the way this play is designed to work. Stroud takes the snap. He's going to look in that direction. If it's not open, just throw it over the back of the end zone. There's a window. I wouldn't say it's open, but this is definitely one where, hey, let's take this chance here. Why not? See if Mechie can make a nice play. And look at this throw and catch. That is perfectly on the money. That is a difficult catch from John Mechie. And at this point, it was official. The Texans had won the game, and this was a statement win for Houston, going up to 7-3, beating the really good Detroit Lions. And, that's what I was thinking personally. Things went off the rails in the second half. A big part of it was turnovers. This play was, one that I thought was going to be a bigger deal than it ended up being, but the play itself is not a great play here by Houston, and I do wonder how much of this is coaching as opposed to just blaming CJ Stroud, but again, we'll get into it. You see the route you see on the screen against the zone coverage, one that can work. Once again, this is going to be a blitz, so Tank Dell, usually there is a gap in coverage kind of where that route is going. You see on the screen how it can work. And especially when, Stroud takes a snap, the player covering the middle of the field can't get over. But here's the issue is for Tank Dell, I would say he could have ran that route a little bit better. He didn't really sell at all, as though he could be doing anything else. So Carlton Davis, he's been in the league long enough. He knows what's happening when he sees something like this. Watch him jump the route and get the interception. Part of why I say this could be maybe a coaching thing as well is, again, Davis was all over this. Did he kind of have an idea of what play call could be coming? Only he knows. But either way, being a bit too predictable, not selling as though you could do other stuff, leads to an interception. Luckily for them, Goff turned the ball right over right after that, so didn't end up hurting them too much. But still, it was a drive that you could have scored points on that you failed, right? The other interception here was another one where this was probably the biggest one you look at in hindsight and say, this would have really helped getting points here. Just getting a field goal would have gone a long way in a game they lost by 3 points, but getting a touchdown and going up 30-13, might have been the dagger. It would have completely changed how the Lions had to play. Being down just 10 points, you can kind of still run your whole offense. You can run the ball. When you're down 17, maybe you run it a little bit less, right? The play design is actually a bit of a clever one, where usually the way you run these types of plays is you have a receiver who runs a deep shot designed to push the safety further deep. And then you have another receiver run more of an over-the-middle route, and kind of the logic is if the safety stays deep, you throw over the middle. If the safety comes in and covers over the middle, you throw deep. The little wrinkle, though, is that Tank Dell, the player running the deep shot, usually if you start on the right side of the screen, you just go towards the left, or I guess I should say, if you start on the right side of the field, you then go to the left side of the field. Here, he's starting on the right side of the field, faking as though he's going towards the left side of the field, but then going back towards the right side of the field. It's clever. I like this idea. And to be honest, when Stroud takes the snap, I mean, he's going to be a little bit off balance due to the play concept, but really, I mean, he has time to set his feet. If he makes an accurate throw here, this is a touchdown. If he pushes this one towards the back corner of the end zone, this is an easy touchdown, and Houston is up 17 points, midway through the third quarter. You're feeling very good about yourself. He just underthrows it. And, great play by Carlton Davis again. He had both the interceptions for Detroit. Really good play by him. But still, it's one they would have loved to have back. It's one Stroud would have loved to have back. It's not a bad throw, not a bad decision, but a bad throw. Needed to put that one further down the field. It is what it is. But honestly, this play was the biggest issue. Because, okay, those 2 turnovers happened, but that's still just 2 possessions. What happened on the other possessions? And again, a missed field goal happened on one, albeit a long missed field goal, but there was also some pass interference stuff. We don't need to get into it. But there was also this play where, it's Xavier Hutchinson in a one-on-one matchup on a 3rd down and 9. Again, situation, you're holding on to a 10-point lead. If you can't convert here, you're going to give the Lions pretty decent field position. So you'd love to be able to get a conversion, help kill some clock, maybe put some more points on the board. But when this play begins, it's just like Xavier Hutchinson, with all due respect, shouldn't be a 3rd down guy, right? There isn't a ton of separation. It's, Brian Branch, the safety for the Lions, he's a good safety. He can make plays, right? So that's who's in coverage. But still, Hutchinson on Branch, this is not the matchup you want. It shouldn't be the matchup you want. But due to injuries, it's kind of what they have to deal with sometimes. As you see here, it's knocked away as kind of expected. And so that was the biggest issue, was just guys weren't winning. They were making plays in the first half, and they weren't making plays in the second half. As easy of analysis as it is, that's what happened. And they weren't making a ton of plays in the first half either, but they made enough, and Stroud made some nice throws. The throws just weren't there to be made in the second half. I think it's totally fair to blame CJ Stroud for the underthrow in the end zone, and I think even reasonably fair for the first interception as well. Could have read the play. So he does have to be better, but really they need Nico Collins back. That's the biggest issue, I think. And he made some nice plays as well. This was still a solid performance by Stroud, even if it wasn't his best that day. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.